Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair wa bika nasta'in. Ya Fattah, Ya Fattah, Ya Fattah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Last week we discussed the different types of bloods and purity. So this is a summarized diagram of the blood. So we have two types of blood. I'm just summarizing it up again. So we have invalid blood and we have valid blood. In valid blood is always what is haid and nifas, and haid and nifas means that what comes under haid means the bleeding which you see between 3 and 10 days. Okay, so and nifas is whatever after you give a birth and you see the blood, and that blood is within 40 days, not more than 40 days. So these bloods are valid bloods. And invalid blood is whatever is not haid and nifas. So whatever extra blood you see outside of haid and nifas is invalid blood, and there's a term for that which is istihaza. And for these both type of bloods, we say there's a legal blood and an actual blood. It means that actual blood is that blood which you actually see in your days of haid and nifas, because it happens that, let's say, if your habit of haid is 8 days, so it happens that there's a day or a moment come when you don't see any blood, or you see some other color. Let's say if normally you have red color of bleeding, so let's say for first 3 days you see red color, then a day comes and you don't see any color, it's all blank, and then the next day you just see spotting of brownish or pinkish, and then again you see 2 days of your blood. So these in the middle, the blank days, like the days or moments without any blood, and any other color blood like brown, pinkish, these are called legal blood, which means that they are basically that is a day of your haid, but you don't see any blood. Okay, because that comes in your haid duration or nifas duration. So this is the term we use for legal and actual blood. And this happens in istihaza as well, because sometimes it happens that when you let's say after your bleeding exceeds more than 10 days, right? So in those days it happens that you bleed for 3 days or 4 days, and then there's a gap, and then you bleed again. So that gap is called legal blood, right? Which you don't see blood in that days. Though it's in istihaza, it's not an haid, but you in that duration you don't see any blood, but again you see the blood a day or 2 days after that blank day. No, you can. Istihaza mein invalid blood, you do everything. I think this is a bit confusing. If it, in a simpler word I say, आप कहना 3-4 दिन ब्लड आएगा, फिर गैप आ जाएगा, फिर 2-3 दिन आता है, 10 days होंगे वो जी, उसमें नमाज पढ़नी होगी कि हमें नहीं आएगा ब्लड इसमें. This is I'm talking about अगर ये legal blood आपका हेद के अंदर आ रहा है, let's say your head is 7 days or 8 days, right? आपकी जो habit है, अगर उन days के बीच में let's say आपको एक दिन bleeding नहीं हो रही, ठीक है, and you're not praying, and you know your habit is 8 days, so you will not pray in that period of haid or nifas. But if it's istihaza, like you are bleeding for like let's say your bleeding exceeds 10 days, right? So now this is your 13th day, right? But the 14th day you don't see any bleeding, but in that you could think, you know, my istihaza has stopped, but you see the blood again on 15th day. But in any way, istihaza, if you see blood or not, you have to pray. Okay, inshallah we'll do istihaza afterwards. The legal or actual difference is that ke agar aapke jaise you अगर आपका हेड के बीच में if you don't see any blood, right, so still you don't have to pray. Don't think okay, my blood has stopped, right, within your habit days, so I can now pray, because you have your habit of 8 days, right? So if in the middle you don't see any blood, right, so still you are in a haid and you cannot pray or you cannot do anything, whatever is prohibited. So just to, you know, differentiate between if you see blood and if you don't see blood, so what you do. So if it comes in your head days, because this happens, that people experiences this, that for a few moments, or or half a day or a day, they don't see any blood, so they got confused that what should I do? Should I take a shower? Should I start praying? So that is the thing that you have to see your habit. If your habit is 8 days and it comes in between that 8 days, then you don't pray. You have to wait and see, and see the next day if you have bleeding or not.
It's called legal.
It's called legal. It's just a term, just don't get confused. It's just a term. So basically, it's just another word. If I say that you can experience a day or a moment within your Haid and Nifas time period that you don't see any blood, or you see some other colors.
That's
okay, but that will be considered as your Nifas or Haid. In simpler words.
Yeah, that's the legal.
Yes.
What about the actual?
Actual is when you see the actual, like when you see the blood, when there is blood.
Okay. So legal is like it is a missing period, you can say, between the health.
Missing time.
Missing time.
Yes, you can say.
And actual is when you're bleeding.
When you're bleeding.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just I think you get it, right? So if you don't see any blood within your Haid cycle, right? Or your Nifas cycle, then that is your Haid and Nifas, as per your habit. Inshallah, when we do the Haid, when we do this different cycles, it will get more clear.
More clear, yeah.
Inshallah. I will go next. Okay. Yes. Okay. So then we did complete purity, incomplete purity, valid purity, and invalid purity. Okay. So the simpler in complete purity is, which is in Haid, we say 15 days or more, right? Which is that is a complete purity. Incomplete purity, which is less than 15 days. Valid purity is again, which is 15 days and more, right? And this valid purity, we say this does not have any invalid blood before it or after it. Okay, so this is called valid purity. And then what is invalid purity? Invalid purity is which is less than 15 days and it has invalid blood before it or after it or in the middle, right? This is we did last time. Okay, now we'll first cover the Nifas section because it is small, and then inshallah then we will do the Haid, because Haid is like a bit long, and then we have to do exercises as well. So I think we should cover first Nifas because it's a small topic. So for Nifas, we say there is no minimum number of days for Nifas, right? And the maximum number of days for Nifas is 40 days. So there's an example given, like if Fatima, like she gave birth on June 1st and then she bled till July 11th. So that is complete of 40 days she bled for. So this whole 40 days will be her Nifas. So now, if you are, if this is your first Nifas, right? So you have to see, because you don't know, you don't have any habit, right? So you have to see how you are bleeding. If you stop after a few days, after 20 days or 25 days, right? So, and you see that there's no blood, it's all clear. So you can wait, right? There's two options. Either you can wait or you can take a shower and start praying. Because the thing is, there are two possibilities that you might get the blood again, right? And you don't get the blood again at all. If you don't get the blood again, and if you are waiting and thinking the blood will come again, then you have to make up all your prayers if it doesn't come before 40 days. Okay, so the best option is if you have stopped bleeding before 40 days, okay, and you wait for one prayer time, right, and you don't see any blood, it's all clear. So it's better to take a shower and start praying. And if the blood comes again, then it won't be an issue, right? And you stop praying again till 40th day. Okay, till 40th day. And then after 40 days, after 40 days finishes, and you have to calculate like hourly basis, right? 24 hours we calculate. Like let's say if today at 1 o'clock someone gives birth, right? And she started bleeding straight away, right? So from today 1 and then tomorrow at 1 p.m. it completes a 1 day. So we don't say today is a 1 day, tomorrow the second day. So we take 24 hours. as 1 day. So we calculate like this, okay? Because inshallah we'll do later on, because when your exact 40 days finishes, then you have to see which prayer time comes in that, and then if it is becoming qada, or then you have to do qada or not.
Same as with period as well.
The period as well, yes. So then after 40 days, there should be a gap of minimum 15 days for that your next Eid to come. Okay. So for and then in this you will follow your Eid habit, which is before pregnancy, right? So if it is let's say you follow your basically if let's say you start bleeding again after 10 days, like you finish your Eid, your nifas 40 days, and after 10 days you started bleeding again, right? Then you don't take that bleeding as your Eid, because there's no minimum 15 days of gap, right? So you look what your habit was before your pregnancy, and you see okay, how much your purity was. If it's 20 days, 25 days, then you take that much purity after your 40 days finishes. And then if you see the blood, if there's a continuous blood, then you take number of Eid which you had before your pregnancy, 7 days, 8 days, 6 days, and then you take that number of bleeding as your Eid. Okay, is this clear? And with the second child, with the second child, what you do, you have to follow your first child habit, whatever it is, 30 days, 40 days, right? But it could happen that with the second child, your habit can change. So in that as well, if you stop bleeding before 40 days, let's say your habit is 30 days from your first child, right? And this time you stop bleeding in 25 days, right? You stop bleeding, but your habit is 30 days from first, right? So what you do, you take a shower, start praying, but you cannot have intercourse, okay? Just to be safe side, because your bleeding can come again. So you start praying, and then you start like praying, you start doing a Quran, everything, but you cannot have intercourse in that 5 days. And after 30th day, right, still if it's you don't see any blood, then you can have like normal everything, right? You can have intercourse and everything will be normal, because you have passed your habit.
Right. Normally we think is 40 days is the maximum, we can't do anything. And
मतलब अगर फर्स्ट प्रेगनेंसी आपकी 30 निफास जो है वो
जी।
30 डेज का है,
हाँ।
तो फिर सेकंड में जो है वो
You
हमें
have to follow that. If you
फिनिश अर्ली
early
25th डे पे अगर फिनिश हो गया एंड देन फॉर वन पीरियड टाइम, मतलब एक दिन तक हमें नहीं आया तो हम ना आगे नमाज पढ़ लेंगे,
एक दिन नहीं, आई थिंक आप एक नमाज तक बस वेट
एक
करते
नमाज
हैं
तक, जैसे जोहर में हमने एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया तो असर तक
आप
वेट
हाँ
करें तो असर पढ़े फिर हम।
जी मतलब बेसिकली आप शावर लेके नमाज पढ़ना शुरू कर दें, राइट?
सही,
बट यू कैन नॉट हैव इंटरकोर्स अंटिल योर
30
हैबिट
days
इज पास्ट,
सही।
ठीक है? बट इट कुड हैपन कि आपका दोबारा से ऑब्वियसली यू नेवर नो, आपको अगर लेट्स से 38th डे पे दोबारा ब्लीडिंग हो जाए और वो 40th पे खत्म हो जाए, it should not exceed more than 40, because if it exceeds more than 40, then that means your habit is 30 days.
तो वो जो नमाज पढ़ी है उसका
कोई गुनाह नहीं मिलेगा, उसका कुछ नहीं होगा, ठीक है? So you have to see this कि let's say कि if your habit is 30 days, you stopped at 25 days, right? Then you have to still make sure that if you bleed before 40th day, bleeding should not go beyond 40 days.
Right.
Okay, let's say for example you stopped at 25 days, right? Your bleeding stops, your habit is 30 days, right? But on 38th day you started bleeding again, and it goes for 10 days, which means it crosses 40 days. So now you go back to your habit, which is 25 days. So that from 38th day, even though it is within 40 days, but it exceeds, and you have already have a habit, so that from 38 days it's istihaza.
इस्तेहाजा मतलब वो पीरियड भी काउंट नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि प्योरिटी का टाइम नहीं है बीच में,
नहीं पीरियड काउंट नहीं करेंगे, बिकॉज इट्स मिनिमम 15 डेज तो है ही नहीं इसमें, राइट?
नमाज और अपना सब कर
सकते हैं एवरीथिंग। इस्तिहाजा में you do everything, but the way you do, how you do wudu and how you perform, we will inshallah do this later on.
नहीं, अगर 38 डे पे आपको पीरियड स्टार्ट होते हैं तो जो 38
पीरियड की स्टार्ट हुई, ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट हुई,
ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट होती है, तो वो जो 2 डेज होंगे वो हमारे उसमें काउंट नहीं होंगे,
नहीं, क्योंकि it exceeds, whenever it exceeds, even हेड में या निफास में, whenever it exceeds the limit, then you have to go back to your habit.
Because we are going to see our first childbirth habit if it's 25 or 30 days. So
Ji.
that's what we have to do for next.
क्योंकि 15 days का gap नहीं आया, 15 days से कम है gap. 20-25.
Because देखें आपकी देखें हेड निफास के बाद आफ्टर निफास ठीक है हेड आने से पहले there should be a minimum gap of 15 days. ठीक है, if this is your first child, right, you take take the 40 days as your nifas, then you wait for 15 days. There should be a minimum gap of 15 days. If it is more, then that's according to your habit. नहीं यहाँ पे आपको देख जाएगा ना यहाँ पे easy ना. और मैं इधर स्क्रीन पे करूँ सबको दिखेगा है ना. सॉरी स्क्रीन शेयर मैं कर रही हूँ जी. Okay, just to explain, let's say this is your second pregnancy, right? And you stopped at, forgot to bring the pen. You stopped at like on 25th day, you stop bleeding, right? And your habit is for your first child was 30 days. Okay, so what you do on 25th day, if bleeding is stopped, is all clear, you wait for one prayer time and then you take a shower and start praying, but you cannot have intercourse until 30th day will pass. Okay, there are two possibilities for this scenario. Number one, that you could see blood again on 38th day till 40 day. Okay. The second is there's a possibility that you will see blood on 38th day and it will, let's say, go till 50th day. Okay, it exceeds 40 days. So for this first scenario, if it stops on 40th day, right, and then it's all clear till the next 15 days, you don't see any blood for the next 15 days, it's all clear, not blood, no spotting, nothing. Okay, after 40 days you don't see anything, then you say that your habit has changed and it is now 40 days. Only if you see clear 15 days after 40 days. Okay, and this with the second scenario, if your bleeding goes, like if you see blood on 38th day and if it goes over 40 days, so what you do, then this is because your habit is already established and it goes over 40 days and you go back to your habit, which is 30 days. Okay, first child mein 30 days thi, right? Right, are you getting me? 25 days पे आप stop हो गए second child पे. Okay. First child पे आपका निफास 30 days था, ठीक है. Second child पे आपकी निफास की bleeding 25 days पे stop हो गई, right? Stop होने के बाद अब आपको 38th day पे you again see the spotting or bleeding, right? And it goes till 50th day. Okay, because since it goes over 40 days, okay, it cannot be nifas because it goes over 40 days. So now you have to go back to your habit, which is 30 days. Got it? So 30 days is your nifas right? And then after 30 days, you calculate the purity of your habit before pregnancy. If it is 20 days, right? So 20 days will be what? 30 at 20, 50. The 50th day, when 50th day, right? That is your purity days, like which is like you have to pray in those days. You cannot, like that is not nifas, that is not your hate, because there's a minimum gap. There should be a gap between nifas and your hate to start. In this one, because you have a habit, right? So you will wait till 20 days, like till 20 days, you will pray, right? And if the bleeding continues, right? Then after 50th day, you take your number of hate, like 7 days or 6 days, whatever your number of days is, then that is your hate. Okay.
अच्छा एक मिनट मैं बस
जी।
सिग्नल का पूछूंगी
जी।
ब्लीडिंग रुकने के बाद जो है वो दोबारा जस्ट फॉर 2 days ब्लीडिंग हुई है बट इट इज विद इन 40 days.
Ji, it is within 40 days and you see 15 days purity after that.
After that.
Obviously, this will, you get to know this after 15 days will pass. Up 40th day pe, if the bleeding stops, like you will take, you take the shower and start praying and doing everything, right?
इस ब्लीडिंग में हम नमाज छोड़ देंगे क्योंकि ये विद इन 40 days है.
हाँ जी जी,
इसमें नमाज
इसमें आप नमाज छोड़ देंगी from 38th till 40th. ओके,
फिर इसके बाद जो है वो 15 days की हम चेक करेंगे
कि आप मिनिमम के उसमें आपको कोई स्पॉटिंग या ब्लीडिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए. अगर इफ इन केस, सॉरी,
तो हम 2 दिन नहीं पढ़ेंगे नमाज 38 एंड
48 पे, हाँ
till 14.
जी, नहीं पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है.
If it goes beyond 40 days, then you have to make up for those 2 days.
हाँ मेरा भी तो सुनिए
क्योंकि वो
जी
इस्तेहाजा हो गया.
जी जी
क्योंकि वो तो बाद में पता चलेगा
जी,
ना कि
बाद में
तीन
पता
दो
चलेगा
days,
जी.
days,
तो
तो वो पढ़नी पड़ेगी फिर हमें कज़ा पढ़नी पड़ेगी
जी, कदा होनी पड़ेगी. तो इसमें 2 ऑप्शंस हैं आपके पास, इट्स अप टू अस, राइट? जिसमें कोई वो नहीं होता. अगर आपकी एस्टेब्लिश्ड हैबिट एस्टेब्लिश्ड है ऑलरेडी, राइट, for 30 days and you see blood again for 2 days, it's up to you. You can still praying, like thinking it's istihaza, or you can stop praying. But if you stop praying and you see that bleeding goes, like bleeding stopped on 40th day, right? Then no, sorry, if you don't pray, let's say if you don't pray, नहीं, what I'm saying,
कि हम इसमें नमाज
सॉरी,
पढ़
आपने क्या कहा था,
सकते हैं.
नमाज पढ़ सकते हैं, नहीं पढ़ सकते, हाँ. तो इसमें ये होगा कि इफ यू स्टॉप प्रेइंग, ठीक है, on 30th day, 8th day, thinking this is my nifas, but if it goes over 40 days, ठीक है, but then still it is istihaza because it is going over 40 days.
नहीं अगर विद इन 40 days मतलब हमें तो बाद में पता चलेगा ना 38 डे पे ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट हो गई तो
जी,
हमने नमाज छोड़ दी.
नमाज छोड़ दी,
लेकिन 40 डे पे हम ब्लीडिंग फिनिश हो
अगर
गई
40th day पे bleeding finish हो गई,
that means कि ठीक है.
it's all fine.
तो वो
But the day you see the bleeding on 41st day,
लेकिन अगर हमने पढ़ी हमने सोचा कि ये इस्तिहाजा है,
nothing on you, कुछ भी नहीं होगा, नहीं,
सही
कुछ भी नहीं होगा.
मतलब नहीं ये मैं ये पूछ रही हूँ 40 days लेकिन हम समझ रहे हैं कि ये नमाज है और हम नमाज पढ़ते रहे लेकिन ब्लीडिंग 40 days स्टॉप हो गई.
हाँ, तो नथिंग विल बी ऑन यू, कुछ भी नहीं होगा, बिकॉज क्योंकि ये आपका सेकंड चाइल्ड और आपकी हैबिट स्टेब्लिश्ड है, इसलिए. ठीक है, आपकी स्टेब्लिश हुई हुई हैबिट कि आपकी 30 डेज की है, तो आपको होगा कि मेरी स्टेब्लिश है, हुई हुई हैबिट, तो शायद है या ना है, तो इसमें आप नमाज पढ़ें ना पढ़ें तो उसमें कोई वो नहीं है. बट इसमें एक चीज है, मैं बताती हूँ, पहले एक चीज क्लियर हो जाए, सॉरी.
सही. अच्छा अगर उसे एक्सीड होता है उसके बाद मेकअप हाँ वो इसके ऊपर के सहारा में आ जाए. वो मतलब आपके पास हो रहा
कितनी कज़ा होगी जिसमें बच्चे के बाद याद भी नहीं कि अब तो मैं कम थोड़ी
Just one more time. I think मैं यहाँ था थोड़ी सी.
मैं स्टॉप होते तो मैं शुरू कर देती हूँ.
हाँ ये
If you don't know, then अच्छा, अब इस सिनेरियो में मुझे एग्जांपल में रिपीट कर देती हूँ. वन, आपकी दिस इज योर सेकंड चाइल्ड, ओके, योर हैबिट इज फॉर द फर्स्ट चाइल्ड इज 30 days, ठीक है. So basically this time in after second child, in your second child के पास on day 25th you stop bleeding. Okay, you stop bleeding. And then I'm just telling you this thing, and then I'll tell you what to do. And then on, let's say, 38th day, you again see the blood. Okay, there are two possibilities. Number one is you see the blood 38 till 40. Second scenario is you see the blood 38 till 50. Okay, so what you do, if you stop on 25th day, you wait for one prayer time and see if there's any spotting or anything, any discolor discharge or not, because it has to be clear white when you end in the fast or hate, clear white. There should not be any light pinkish, light brownish. If you are seeing any light pinkish, light brownish discharge, that means you're not finished yet. And this you have to check by using a tissue paper, because on that it doesn't come, right? So if you're clear white, right, then wait for one prayer time, and then you start praying, but you cannot have intercourse because your habit has not passed yet, which is 30 days. Okay, then after 30 days, when you see the blood again on 38th day, right, so it's up to you. You can stop praying and you can pray as well, thinking that because my habit is 30 days and this might be a istihaza. If you pray and it stopped at 40th day, it stopped exactly on 40th day, then that means for this second child, your habit has changed to 40 days. Only if you see after 40 days, clear 5 days.
15.
Sorry, 15 days. Bilkul clear, not even a single spot in between those 15 days. Then you say that your habit has changed to 40 days. And this way you get to know after 15 days will pass after 40 days. Okay, this is one scenario.
अच्छा, अगर आपकी ये सिचुएशन उल्टी हो जाए, मतलब आपकी फर्स्ट जो बेबी आपका होता है उसके अंदर जो है वो आपकी ये सिचुएशन हो कि आपके 25 पे बंद हो गया और दोबारा से आपके 38 पे शुरू हो गया,
जी,
तो
उसमें
इसमें क्या करेंगे?
जी, उसमें then you stop praying because you know कि आप this is you could bleed till 40th day. तो उसमें क्या करेंगे? You stopped on 38th day पे you stop, you won't pray, right? You stop praying till 40th day. But as soon as you see the blood again, you see the blood on the 41st day, you will start praying because you know you cannot go over 40 days.
मतलब ये सिचुएशन होगी 25 पे अगर आपको बंद हो गया है
नहीं,
फर्स्ट
हाँ,
बेबी के टाइम
जी,
तो फिर आपने प्रेइंग शुरू कर दी, ठीक है,
हाँ,
वन नमाज का जी वेट करके, फिर अगर दोबारा स्टार्ट हो गया 2 डेज
Then
वही
you stop
सिचुएशन है, फिर आपने अगर आपकी सेकंड वो हैबिट, अब ये हैबिट आपकी 40 डेज की आ गई ना
for the second child.
फॉर द सेकंड चाइल्ड, तो
जी।
आपको 40 डेज फिर वेट करना है सेकंड चाइल्ड
अब
में।
वो मैं कह रही हूँ कि you can wait 40 days, but अगर ये केस आ गया, let's say अगर इस तरह से हो गया कि you stopped on 25th day and you don't see blood, let's say 40 days से blood ही नहीं आया, but you're not praying, thinking कि मेरा 40 days ही होगा, then you have to make up this 15 days of prayer.
मतलब हैबिट चेंज हो गई फिर।
Habit change, habit can change, like अगर जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर फर्स्ट में तो सेकंड में भी वही होगी.
सो बेस्ट ऑप्शन ये है कि जब आपकी जो
As soon as stops,
स्टॉप तो आप
start
नमाज शुरू
praying.
कर दें
जी.
ठीक है।
But you cannot have intercourse. That you have to make sure you do after your habit days passed.
मतलब 40 डेज पास होने के बाद अगर फर्स्ट
जी।
टाइम में 40 डेज
जी. Even if second में, for the second child, like in this one, like we say कि 5 days तक आप नहीं कर सकते. But even इसमें ये possible, the chances हो सकते हैं कि आपको दोबारा जो 38 days पे हुआ, and then you stopped on 40th day, so now your habit has changed to 40 days.
लेकिन अगर बीच में 15 डेज की प्योरिटी आ रही है
जी.
फिर क्या होगा? जैसे मेरे 4th चाइल्ड पे मुझे बहुत मिनिमम पीरियड डेज जैसे 10-11 दिन, एंड देन इट वाज क्लियर। उसके बाद अगर 15 डेज की प्योरिटी आती है और फिर
लेकिन आपकी उसकी लास्ट चाइल्ड की हैबिट क्या थी?
मेरी फर्स्ट टू पे तो
40 थे. But after 15 days, did you see the how many days of bleeding did you see? Within 10 days थी या? क्योंकि आप जो भी बोल रहे हैं, I will come to you, okay? Okay, let me just finish this. Okay, so if you stopped on for day 40th, right? And then you see the clear next 15 days, then that means your habit has changed to 40 days. Okay. The next scenario is if you started bleeding again on 38 day and it exceeds basically over 40. I'm just giving them a little, let's say 50th day, like 10 days, it exceeds, right? So in this one, obviously it will be this will be all istihaza, right? And what you do, you will now like from 40 till 50 is 10 days, right? And your habit, let's say before you get pregnant, your health habit was 28. Like we try like health 8 number of health and 20 is your purity. So because these 10 days, this is your purity, but you are seeing blood in this purity. This is istihaza, and you will pray from day 41st day. You start praying, and after, let's say, from 50 to 60, there is no blood, and this is also your purity, because your purity is 20 days, right? And if you see any blood after 60 days, right, that is your hate, because you passed your purity habit, which is 20 days.
नहीं समझ मैं सोच रही हूँ क्या मतलब बच्चे confusing है इतनी अब बच्चे चलो भी पढ़ना
आप मुझसे पूछिए एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर
मैंने एग्जिट कर दिया था मुझे
हाँ रूम पे पूछना पड़ेगा
लेकिन
So these are the two scenarios that can happen.
सारी उच्चार खुलेंगी
आपको क्या समझ नहीं आया बताएं?
नहीं आगे समझ में आ जाता है फिर दूसरा
Okay. अच्छा अभी खाली one को देखें, right?
जी
One is, this is about your second child. ठीक है? About your second child, that you stop bleeding before your habit. Your first child की habit थी 30 days. ठीक है? और let's say हम 40 कर लें ताकि आपको confusion ना हो. आपकी फर्स्ट चाइल्ड की हैबिट थी 40 डेज, ठीक है? दिस टाइम आपकी ब्लीडिंग जो है हो गई, नहीं सॉरी एग्जांपल ये वाली चलेगी, हाँ वो दूसरी वाली हो जाएगी फिर. ओके, आपकी हैबिट थी 30 डेज फॉर द फर्स्ट चाइल्ड, राइट? आफ्टर योर सेकंड चाइल्ड यू स्टॉप ब्लीडिंग ऑन 25th डे, राइट? आपको पता है योर हैबिट वाज 30 डेज, right? So what you do on 25th day, when you're bleeding, you see the clear discharge, nothing, no color discharge, right? It's all white. You wait for one prayer, you take a ghusl and start praying, right? Till 30 days, like if you don't see any blood, right? It's all clear, right? There possibility that you see a blood. I'm just giving this example, right? There's possibility that you see the blood again before 40th day, right? We are giving example like on 30th for 38th day, you are seeing blood, right? And it stops on 40th day. This is one scenario. It stopped exactly on 40th day, right? So we say, and now it's not on 40th day, right? Then you don't see any blood on 41st day. This is all clear, right? Then you say, okay, now my habit has changed now to 40 days, right? And then after 40 days, what you do, you have to make sure you have to see the next 15 days, it has to be clear as well. There should not be any discharge, any color for the next 15 days in order to say that your habit has changed. Okay? If, for example, you have after 40, your bleeding has stopped here, right? And then you're for the next 15 days, let's say in these 15 days, in the middle, you see 1 day spotting, right? Only 1 day. Then that means that these two things, these 2 days were istihaza. They are not your, they were not your nifas, because 15 days were not pure.
Okay.
Then you have to make up the prayers again.
You have to make up these two. Yes.
Yes.
Then you have to.
These two, or we have to make up to from 30.
No, because you have started praying from here.
Oh,
यहाँ से you have started
make
praying.
it
हाँ,
ठीक
जी,
है, 38 तक तो
Right.
30 days.
जी.
30 days, that's true, yeah.
So your habit, then whenever, if you see any spotting or blood in between 15 days, even for 1 day or half day, then that means that this is all istihaza, and you have to go back to your habit, which is 30 days for the first, right? But now you bleed till 25 days, right? So you say that for the second child, your habit has changed to 25 days.
अगर उसके बाद भी ब्लीडिंग आती है 40 38
38, 40, even 41.
40 के बाद अगर स्टिल बंद होगी, फिर बीच में आ गई 15 दिन के अंदर अंदर,
जी,
तो फिर हम 38 से 40 तक की नमाजें भी कज़ा
जी,
पड़ेंगे।
बस वो दो गजा करेंगे हम।
हम्म।
जी. And the next scenario is that 38 के बाद you don't stop on 40th, you carry on bleeding, right, for the next 10 days. And then for this, obviously, you get to know. इसमें आप अगर even if you stop praying, you get to know कि 40 day में मेरी bleeding stop नहीं हुई, it will go the next day, 41st day. Then you will assume that this is istihada definitely, because it is going on 41st day. So you keep on praying, right, till your purity days has passed, which is 20 days. आपकी जो pregnancy से पहले, हाँ, 20, 25 जो भी आपकी habit थी, ठीक है, if you are still bleeding, like वैसे example दी मैंने, let's say आपकी 50th day पे bleeding stop हो गई, right, and then you are pure, so these 10 days will be your purity, because this is 10 days, less than 15 days, this is your istihaza, right? So you have to pray in this one, and then the next 10 days, if it's all pure, okay, then this is obviously your purity. And if you are bleeding after 60, then you will take your whatever number of purity you used to have before pregnancy, you take that number of days after you finish your haid. And if your bleeding goes over 40 days, it continues, then you calculate like after 40 days, whatever your purity was of pure, like habit of purity, 20, 25, you take that number of days as your purity, means you will pray, even though you are bleeding, you will pray, right? And then after those days pass, even if you are bleeding still, then you take that number of days as your haid, whatever that number is. Or it could happen that after 50 days, you stop bleeding for a whole month. Let's say, for example, you don't see any blood for the whole month, right? Then you say that I don't get any blood or any haid on that month. Then whatever blood you see after a month, you will count that as your haid.
Okay.
25th day पे आपकी bleeding start हुई और 38 पे दोबारा start हो गई है।
25th पे stop हुई,
Stop हुई है, 38 पे फिर
38th पे
start हो गई है। 13 days ये है बीच में।
मतलब कहीं भी हो सकती है, वो
It's
तो
13
example
days.
ही है ना।
जी।
But if it continues beyond 40th day, purity days हम कितने देखेंगे इस इस्तिहाजा के लिए? कहाँ से देखेंगे? 25th day से कि 38th day से? Purity calculate करने के लिए कि आपकी 20 की हैबिट थी purity की,
Okay.
तो वो 20 days हम कहाँ से calculate करेंगे?
Okay, अगर आप ये कहेंगे कि आपकी 25 की हैबिट थी, and
You stopped at 20 for the second child, 25th day पे stop हो गया,
okay,
but you started bleeding at 38th day
38
again,
days, okay,
and it's going beyond 40 days.
40 days, yes, then you start calculating your up from day 26th.
Okay. Because it won't go till 50th day, तो वो फिर 15
हाँ, वो
days
तो मैं
beyond
आपको एक
40 days.
एग्जांपल बता रही थी कि अगर आपका जो है वो अगर आपकी
ये
सॉरी
तो
आपने क्या बोला, मैं
purity days calculate करेंगे
हाँ,
ना जब
as
हम
soon as you stop,
हम्म,
like the day you stop bleeding, and you get to know afterwards that that is the istihaza, right? So you will calculate from the next day your purity.
so from 26 till 40th it becomes 15 days.
26, yes, 34, हाँ जी,
So ये 15
So
days,
40
अगर
days.
it's going beyond 41 then
yeah, then you take like अगर आपकी हैबिट let's say 20 थी ना purity की, तो then it will be 45th day पे your purity will finish.
और 46 day पे फिर bleeding चल रही है तो वो इस्तिहाजा ही है।
No, then that is your haid.
Haid हो गया ना।
Haid हो गया।
Same continue हो रही है।
Same.
तो हम उसको इस्तिहाजा मानेंगे और फिर 45th डे से वो हेल्थ काउंट हो जाएगा
जी,
20 डे की है।
जी। जी, बिकॉज आपकी हैबिट 25 डेज की थी। आई होप ये क्लियर आप लोग इंशाल्लाह हम जब प्रैक्टिस करेंगे ना एग्जांपल्स तो इंशाल्लाह आप लोग को आ जाएगा। एंड आप जो बोल रही थी ना कि विद इन 40 डेज प्योरिटी, ये वाली बात तो वो यही होगी कि अगर आप आपने कहा 12 डेज आपको ब्लीडिंग हुई थी, राइट? फॉर एग्जांपल 12 डेज ब्लीडिंग हुई थी एंड देन यू डोंट सी एनी ब्लड टिल 40 डेज, राइट? इट्स ऑल क्लियर। तो बस आप फिर उसके बाद आप then whenever you see the blood like next, if let's say कि अगर आपको क्या कहते हैं, आपने कहा कि आपको कोई ब्लड 40 से पहले नहीं हुआ, राइट? तो but whatever you see the blood after 40 then that is your, because you have minimum 15 days
प्योरिटी पास का भी गैप आता
जी जी जी, because generally most of the women they don't see blood for months after their nifas finishes.
अच्छा मुझे एक बात ये पूछना, 40 डेज के अंदर अगर एक आध दिन के लिए ब्लड आ जाए तो आपने पहले बोला था कि 38 to 40, मतलब मैं इधर कंफ्यूज हो गई पिछले एक दो क्वेश्चन से। 12 डे की जैसे बोली खत्म हो गया था, उसके बाद 15 डेज की प्योरिटी है, लेकिन 40 डे निफास के खत्म नहीं हुए। जैसे पिछली अगर हैबिट 2 की थी कि 40 डेज की 2 प्रेगनेंसी की हैबिट है, नाउ इट फिनिश ऑन 12 जी। सिर्फ एक दिन के लिए अगर बीच में ब्लीडिंग होती है, स्पॉटिंग होती है बिफोर 40 डेज तो वो आपका पूरा निफास होगा। अगर आप निफास में आ जाएगा एक भी दिन, अगर एक भी दिन भी अगर स्पॉटिंग हो कुछ भी हो विद इन द 40 डेज जी। और अगर हैबिट अगर 25 डेज की थी पिछली 2 प्रेगनेंसीज की, नाउ तो एक भी दिन अगर ब्लीडिंग आती है तो हैबिट फिर चेंज हो गई आपकी, बट इट शुड नॉट गो ओवर 40। फिर उसमें आपको इतना पड़ेगा कि अगर आपको 40, अगर आपको लेट्स से बीच में इधर कहीं एक खाली स्पॉटिंग आई, राइट? और 40 डेज के बाद जो 15 डेज और उसमें भी आपको दोबारा एक स्पॉटिंग आ गई कुछ भी, फिर आपका ये निफास नहीं कहलाएगा। अच्छा, क्योंकि जब आप ये कह रहे हैं कि आपका निफास 40 डेज का है, तो 40 डेज के बाद देयर शुड बी अ गैप ऑफ 15 प्योरिटी। If it is 30 days nifas, तो there should be a gap after 30 days, complete clean 15 days pure होने चाहिए। हम ये कह रहे हैं कि फर्स्ट चाइल्ड में क्योंकि you don't know, ठीक है, तो आप assume करते हैं कि 40 days तक आपका निफास होगा, but you have to wait and see कि how your bleeding goes, right? If it's on and off, right? Few days you see blood, then don't you see blood, but it ends at 40, exact 40 पे आपकी bleeding stop हो गई या 38 पे stop हो गई, and after that you don't see any spotting and blood for the 15 days. This is for the first child, right? So that means this is your 38 days or 40 days, whatever you see the bleeding, that is your nifas habit, right? And for the second child, whatever your habit is established, if even it's 30 or 40, it could be that you end up on those days, but your habit can change. So you have to see, right?
So वो सेकंड टाइम में ही हमें बेसिकली सेकंड चाइल्ड पे ही इन चीजों का ज्यादा होगा, क्योंकि फर्स्ट में तो
हमें 40 तक अपना अज्यूम रखना है,
उसमें हमने वैसे ही रहना है जैसे हम नॉर्मली,
बिल्कुल, हाँ,
क्योंकि कोई पता नहीं है। तो सेकंड टाइम में हमें ये सब चीजें देखनी जरूरी है बेसिकली।
40 डेज से पहले अगर आज ब्लीडिंग तो निफास में शामिल हो जाएगा, 40 डे के बाद अगर हमें स्पॉटिंग हुई तो वो फिर हेल्थ में हो जाएगा।
चाइल्ड की हैबिट को
सेकंड चाइल्ड में अगर आपने क्या बोला 40 डेज से पहले
40 डे 30 पे रुक गया, 30 40 के बीच में एक दिन ब्लीडिंग हुई,
सेकंड चाइल्ड आपकी हैबिट 40 डेज की है,
40 डेज की है, लेकिन वो ब्लीडिंग जो है वो लेट्स से मैं ये समझना चाहती हूँ कि बीच में जो प्योरिटी के दिन आते हैं, हमारी हैबिट पहले ही प्रेगनेंसी में 40 डेज की है, लेकिन जब दूसरी प्रेगनेंसी हुई तो हमारी निफास के अंदर ही प्योरिटी के 15 डेज आ गए जी, समझिए जी। तो प्योरिटी के 15 डेज आ गए और 40 के बाद हमें ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट हुई है, तो वो फिर हैज में शामिल हो जाएगी।
हाँ, वो जब होगी जब आपकी देखें, वो जब होगी जब आपकी डेथ से आपने कहा आपकी हैबिट फर्स्ट की 40 राइट, सेकंड में आपकी डेथ से 1 to 20 आपको ब्लीडिंग हुई,
आप इसको 1 to 20 नहीं है, आप इसको 1 to 10 कर दें ताकि हमें 15 डेज प्योरिटी के पता चले बीच में।
20 पे अभी आ जाएंगे ना, 40 है ना, तो हमें 40 तक लिखना है ना, चलिए 1 to 10 कर लें, राइट? इसके बाद आपके पास 40 तक टाइम है, राइट? ठीक है, अगर आप क्योंकि अगर लेट्स से कि इसके बाद आपके पास 15 डेज का गैप आया तो ये हो गया 35 लाइक, ठीक है। आप ही कह रही है कि अगर आपने 35 डेज पे आपने ब्लीडिंग देखी तो आप ही कह रही है कि ये गैप आ गया।
हाँ
Right?
प्योर, हाँ
लेकिन ये गैप इसलिए नहीं आएगा क्योंकि आपकी हैबिट 40 डेज की है। इसलिए आपको जब ये ब्लीडिंग ये 5 डेज, इसमें क्या है, ब्लीडिंग 35 डेज स्टार्ट हुई, राइट। अगर ये 40 पे ही स्टॉप हो गई ना, लेट्स से स्टॉप हो गई 40 पे, देन दिस इज योर दिस ऑल विल बी योर निफास।
अगर 40 पे स्टॉप हो गई,
अगर 40 स्टॉप हो गई, बट अगर ये 40 से इवन दो अगर ये 40 से भी एक्सीड गई ना, 40 41 लेट्स से 50 तक भी गई, देन स्टिल आप 40 डेज ही आपका निफास होगा बिकॉज यू सी द ब्लड।
35 डे पे हमें ब्लड नजर आ
जी,
तो हम 40 तक ये निफास
40
इवन दो के उसके अंदर अंदर हमें 15 डे प्योरिटी हम देख रहे हैं
जी, इवन दो
वो निफास ही होगा 40 days
जी
का।
जी।
आफ्टर 40 डेज में वो इस्तेहादा होगा।
41 डेज से इस्तेहाजा होगा जी, 41 डेज। बट एनी ब्लीडिंग गोज ओवर 40, अगर आपकी 40 की आपकी वो है हैबिट है, एनीथिंग गोज ओवर 40 तो वो आपकी
इस्तेहाजा में
इस्तेहाजा है। और अगर आपकी हैबिट 20 है, तो आपकी हैबिट 20 थी, राइट, और आप दिस टाइम यू स्टॉप्ड ऑन 25, right, 25 days stop हो गई आप, and then you see blood on let's say 45th day पे आपने blood देखा, right, for let's say 5 days, right, so this is your the fast ends, ठीक है, because आपने within 40 days कोई blood नहीं देखा and your habit was 20 and you see the 45th day पे आपने blood देखा, right, and you have kitna 20 days of gap, right, so in this one this will be your haze because आपकी habit अब 25 पे change हो गई है, but and you see the you don't see any spotting any blood before 40, whatever you see is after 40 and there's a gap of more than 15 days, इसमें आप फिर आप 15 days को count करेंगे but not with this one क्योंकि आपको 40 से पहले इधर ब्लीडिंग हो गई है, या आपकी हैबिट अगर 40 की है या अगर लेट्स से आपके 10 डेज आपकी खाली ब्लीडिंग हुई, ठीक है, इससे भी वही होगा अगर 10 डेज ब्लीडिंग हुई एंड देन यू ब्लीड ऑन 41th डे
तो वो फिर हेल्थ शुरू हो जाएगा,
वो अगर सेकंड चाइल्ड का है ये, राइट, तो फिर ये हेज शुरू हो जाएगा
सही,
क्योंकि ये आपका इतना इधर गैप आ गया 30 डेज का,
लेकिन विद इन 40 अगर आएगा इवन दो 15 डेज प्योरिटी है तो वो निफास
वो
में
हाँ
शामिल
जी वो निफास बिटवीन 40 विल बी निफास इवन दो उसमें आपका गैप आ रहा है।
सही।
ये तो हमने एक ही चीज कवर
हाँ, इसको ये स्क्रीन शेयर को स्टॉप करके ना तो
ओके
आंसर कर दीजिए।
G. So, Sister Roma, like I said, whenever you see, whenever you don't see any discolor discharge, and you start seeing like like with clear discharge or any white discharge, then that means your period or nifas has ended. But any color like light pinkish, light brownish, any light colored discharge if you see towards the end of your haid or nifas, that means your haid or nifas has not ended. If it's